Hello and welcome back to Life in Pictures podcast.
Yeah, welcome back. We have Stephanie here who, it's a rare appearance to do a podcast, so you're welcome.
You are welcome. You are welcome, friends. Today we're going to, we've watched so many
We've
movies.
watched a ton of movies because it's been over a month since the last episode. And like we said, we're sorry it's been so long, but we got other stuff going on.
Yes. I was actually out of town for about 10 days traveling for work, which is interesting because we watch so many movies, we watch so many things, but I know you have said like you try not to really watch anything while I'm gone. And when I'm traveling, there's really just whatever's on TV in the hotel. And so I typically will put on one of my comfort shows, which for me would be like Friends or The Office, as just kind of like background noise. But I'm not watching like a new movie or a new show or anything like that.
However, as a fun little tip for the loyal listeners of the Life in Pictures podcast, I'm just going to let y'all in on a little secret. That's probably not that secret, but if you find yourself in that situation where you're on the road and, you're at the mercy of whatever's on TV, you, most of the time, can bring with you a Fire Stick or a Chromecast or something like that, hop on the hotel Wi-Fi, and have all of your streaming services available right then and there. Catch up on whatever you're watching. So.
I mean, technically, I probably could like log into my Netflix on my laptop or whatever, but I just don't feel motivated to like watch something that I like feel like we should be watching together.
I wasn't talking about you. That was a tip for the listeners.
Okay.
I clearly said listeners.
Okay, so before we talk about the movies we're going to talk about today, because there are several and we've watched even more than what we're going to address in this episode, what is your like comfort TV show? Like your mindless, like put it on in the background, it just like makes you feel good. Do you have one?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like right now if I'm on the spot, I probably won't think of one and then I'll think of it later. I don't know. What's a good one?
For me, it's always Friends or The Office, just really depending upon which one is on at that particular moment.
The Office is a good show.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I feel like those are shows that like you can watch them over and over again, and
The Office is one of those shows among many that I started watching, and you were like, "This show's stupid. I don't like it."
I don't think
and
I
then,
ever said that.
Then when we got further into it, then you paid attention to it.
That sounds suspicious, but okay. Anyway, yeah.
So, I mean, there you have it. I single-handedly discovered The Office.
He did.
Yeah. Nobody else knew about it except for me. Just only me.
Only him.
I'm taking credit for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just feel like those are shows that are like, it's easy to like get in your head and get anxiety and get scared when you're traveling and you're like by yourself, and they just keep me like, they're lighthearted and they're easy to watch and not really pay attention, but they're funny and like you can watch them 12 million times. And
actually, I did think of one. Sometimes I'll put this on and it's sort of like what you're saying, and it's maybe a little unorthodox, but like wrestling. Like I can watch like WWE Network now or whatever, but like, I watch those old episodes of Nitro or whatever, and that's something I can put on in the background and just kind of be calming for me.
Okay, that's fair. That's not what I would choose, but more power to you. So today we're actually going to talk about several older movies and then one new movie.
Yeah, it's like that game, Two Truths and a Lie. This is like 3 old ones and a new one, I guess.
So, I don't know exactly what started. So, okay, I think we watched, if I'm correct, We watched The Judge.
And
it had Robert De Niro. No, not Robert De Niro. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
It.
So, should we tell them the names of the movies we're going to review?
Sure.
Okay. So the movies we're going to review or we're going to talk about are The Judge, Bronx Tale, Heart and Souls, and Fall Guy. So we had watched The Judge, which is a movie that is starring Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. And while we were watching that, it made me think of the movie Heart and Souls, which you had never seen before.
Never even heard of.
So I was like, oh, yeah, you should see it. It's a good movie. And it's not, it's just like a comedy, kind of, it's not real serious. But I remembered it from when I was a kid, and I thought it was kind of like a good movie. So we decided to watch that. And then that was an older movie that was made in 1993. And then that made me think of A Bronx Tale, which was also made in 1993. And it's a different type of movie. It's more of a mobster. I don't know if it's strictly a mobster movie, but like a, that kind of, like a Sopranos or like a, Godfather type movie, sort of kind of in that vein. And the reason that I watched that is because a lot of you guys don't know this about me, but I grew up in the Bronx. And,
Oh my God. No, he didn't.
It was a rough childhood.
He did not.
There was a mob boss that, I saw all kinds of stuff. I couldn't talk about it. Yeah. And that's why I like The Bronx Tale and The Sopranos and The Godfather. Mm-hmm. I'd have to say those are my favorite movies. It reminds me of when I was a kid growing up in the Bronx. And every day I used to take the F train and I would get a cannoli and a bagel from,
Listen,
Gambino's on 57th.
This fool over here thought my dad and my uncle were in the mafia. And I think he still might.
I mean, I don't know. The jury's out on that. I don't know. Not like they're going to tell you. They're not going to tell you if they're in the mob. Everybody knows that.
Well,
do you think Tony Soprano's really a sanitation worker? No. They all have cover stories.
You're right. I'd have to put you in the ground. So we started.
What about that time Johnny the Bull came over for dinner? That was weird, right? Nobody said anything.
Anyway, so we started with The Judge, which we saw on Netflix. I kind of saw, like, we were kind of scrolling Netflix and we saw like the little cover shot and it had like this crazy famous cast and I'd never heard of it. And it came out in 2014. It had Robert Downey Jr., Robert Duvall, Vera Farmiga, who is she played the mother in...
Who was the other guy instead of Robert Downey Jr.? The second Robert?
Robert Duvall?
Duval!
Okay. Billy Bob Thornton, Vincent D'Onofrio, Dak Shepard, like lots of big names in this movie, and I'd never even heard of it. So we were, bored. We were like, why not? So this movie actually came out in 2014, so it's about 10 years old. It's directed by David Dobkin, who did Wedding Crashers, The Change Up, and Fred Claus.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a different kind of movie for him.
Yeah, this was much more.
I think he might have written the movie too, or was one of the writers of the movie.
Okay, this was kind of a more serious type role. I actually really enjoyed it. Box office numbers were really good.
Yeah, this is actually the only movie on our list here that has turned a profit so far. So
they earned $84 million and they had a budget of $50 million. So they have recouped some of their initial investments. So do you want to do a quick synopsis of the movie and then we can kind of talk about it?
Sure. And also, as always, spoiler alerts.
Spoiler alert.
We're going to be talking about these movies as if you have already seen them, because we've already seen them and we want to talk about them. So if you don't care about knowing what happened, keep listening. If you do care about knowing what happened, go watch the movie and then come back and listen.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be spoiling everything. So fair warning, spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts. I don't know what I said before that. Spoiler alerts are happening.
Yes.
We're going to spoil stuff. So, just
and
so
again,
you know.
this is on Netflix, like currently. It's
Yes,
currently
you can
on
watch
Netflix.
this on Netflix. Netflix is a paid service, but a lot of folks have Netflix.
But
so
they're not paying us to say that.
You probably have access to it.
Yeah.
Is the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah.
Okay, so so this movie is about Robert Downey Jr. He's this like hotshot attorney, and they're kind of showing him in the beginning being a hotshot attorney, and then he learns that
He's kind of a dick.
He's kind of not a very nice guy. He learns that his mother has passed away. He's having some marital problems, they reveal, and he's like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm going to see my family, all of that kind of stuff. Well, it's also revealed that his father is a judge in the town that he grew up in and has been a judge there for years and years and years. And
He's
so
kind of like, and the dad is like very by the book, very like no nonsense. So he like you can tell that they don't have a very good relationship. Actually, they have like no relationship.
He's a very righteous man. He's a judge, and he's not very happy about some of the practices that Robert Downey Jr., whose character's name is Hank Palmer in this movie, has. He's not very happy about the way that he conducts his business practices. So then it's, throughout the movie, it's revealed that there was a death, and they suspect Robert Downey Jr.'s father, who's Joseph Palmer. They suspect he might be involved, and so then Robert Downey Jr. says, I'm going to help you beat this accusation, this trial, and you end up learning that he has dementia, right? Was it dementia?
No, he has cancer.
He has cancer.
Yeah.
Why does I think he had dementia?
Well, because that was kind of one of the, like, you weren't really sure what was wrong with him. And for a while, I think they kind of were making it seem like he had dementia. But it turns out that, like, the chemo that he's getting and the treatments that he's getting are making him
He was keeping them
forgetful.
secret. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, anyway, Robert Downey Jr. comes up with this stellar defense for him. At first, he doesn't want him to be his lawyer. He actually hires Dax Shepard to be his lawyer, and Dax Shepard is like not prepared for this type of trial at all. So eventually, he concedes to let Robert Downey Jr. represent him. The opposing counsel is played by Billy Bob Thornton. Does a very good job. Billy Bob Thornton also plays an attorney in the series on Amazon called Goliath. So if you'd also like to see another place where he plays an attorney, that's a great show to check out if you haven't already seen it, as a side note. Anyway, they go on this trial. They go all the way through it. I think they basically had the trial won, and then Robert Duvall kind of blows the whole thing open and says, actually, here's what happened. Even though he would have gotten off, he can't live with himself by not telling the whole story. So he goes and he does his time, and him and his son bonded throughout the experience, and then he passes away shortly after he gets out of prison.
Well, they let him out on like a compassionate release.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. And so throughout the movie, Robert Downey Jr., he bonded with his daughter. He bonded with his father. Vera Farmiga is actually his ex-girlfriend, and they sort of rekindle their relationship. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of like relationship repairing going on, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I'd never heard of it before either, and
it's definitely like his redemption story, and how he is changed because of the help that he had to provide to his father, and there was a lot more nuance to it when, like his father was sick and some things happened, and he kind of stepped in with that because nobody else knew. But it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It was definitely unexpected, with all those big names. It was weird to me that I literally never heard of this movie. But it was good. If you have a chance to check it out, it's got a lot of, there's some funny parts to it. Great cast. Just a good movie, and it didn't feel like it went on for too long. Sometimes movies like that just go on, and you're like, okay, get to the point. But I feel like everything that was in this movie needed to be part of the story, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I always enjoy Robert Duvall in movies. He can play serious, he can play comedic. He's great. Robert Downey Jr. obviously he's come a long way in his acting. And the rest of the cast was great too.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. So anyway, you thought that sounded good. Check it out. It's on Netflix. You probably have Netflix. Not hard to find.
Yes.
Which brings us to our next movie, also starring Robert Downey Jr. This one is called Heart and Souls from 1993.
Yep.
Now, this is obviously 1993, a long time ago. This is Robert Downey Jr. kind of earlier on in his career. And it was kind of, I don't know if off-putting is the right word, but it was just weird to see him because you're so used to seeing him as like Tony Stark and like, the age that he was when he's playing in this movie, The Judge.
Yeah.
And he's this like really young guy in this movie. Which was fine. I mean, he still did a great job acting. It's just, you know.
Well, and also, I don't know much about the time when Robert Downey Jr. was like a young actor, but I do feel like he had some like legal troubles. And there was, like,
for sure. Yeah.
Some
this
drug
was,
and
this was
alcohol
kind of,
issues. I don't know if this was during that time.
I think this was around that time. Yeah.
But yeah, so this movie also came out in 1993. So we kind of were on this path where we started out, we were like, okay, Robert Downey Jr. is in this movie. Hey, we should check out this other movie. This came out in 1993. Oh, hey, this other movie came out in 1993. So we were just like on this weird path. But anyway, continue.
It was directed by Ron Underwood. Some of the movies he's directed before you might know are Tremors and City Slickers. So yep, that's the director. Starring, as we've already said, Robert Downey Jr., Charles Grodin, who you might remember as the father from Beethoven. He's been in some other movies. He had a talk show in the 90s. It was kind of like I think it was a political show, like kind of on CNN or something like that.
I did not know that.
Who else is in this movie? Elizabeth Shue, who you might know from The Karate Kid, or you should know from Back to the Future Part 2. She was the second actress that played Jennifer Parker in the Back to the Future series. She was in Part 3, I guess, also. 2 and 3, folks. So, there you go. Tom Sizemore, he's in a lot of like more serious roles. He was in a movie called Heat that we've been watching for like 3 years now. I'm not sure when it's going to end, but we chip away at it a little bit. It's a heist movie. It's pretty good, but it's long. I'm not sure how you say this name. Kyra
Sedgwick.
Kyra Sedgwick.
Yeah.
So, the thing that I knew her from, she's been in a lot of stuff, but you might know her if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's like the rival captain. That's like Captain Holt's nemesis. She was a lot younger in this movie.
Yeah.
So it was another one of those kind of situations where, I was used to seeing her as like an older woman. I'm also not sure how you say this lady's name. Alfrey? I don't know. Woodard. I'm honestly not sure what she had been in that I would recognize besides this movie. But she did a good job in it. And Eric Lloyd, who you would know as Charlie, the son in The Santa Claus. So he played Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Harrison. No, not Harrison. What was his name? Thomas. Harrison is Charles Grodin's character. Thomas is Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and Eric Lloyd played him as a child in the movie. So the synopsis of this movie, actually, let's get into some other stuff. The box office of this movie. It cost them $25 million to make, and they only made $16.5 million back on it. So that's a rough day at the office.
$9 million hit.
Yeah. It's also, I thought it was interesting to see where, this was 1993, and you see some of these movies, and it's like, it made $16 million, which probably back then was a lot of money. But compared to like the budgets you see nowadays, like this movie cost, $500 million or whatever, and it made $4 billion or something. It's like, it's such a modest figure in comparison to budgets you see now. So anyway, didn't do very well at the box office, but you know what? It's 31 years later now, and that doesn't matter. So if you just want to be entertained, you're in luck. You can watch it, and you don't have to worry about how much it made.
Yeah, you can stream it. There are not currently any free versions of it available, but you can rent it from all of the major retailers: Amazon, YouTube, Google,
Apple,
wherever
you want. So wherever you consume digital content from, it's probably there. All right, so the synopsis of this movie. There's a group of, is it 4 or 5 people?
There's 4 of them.
4 people, and they were all kind of brought together. They all have separate lives, obviously. They were all brought together in this kind of catastrophic event. So there's Harrison, who's played by Charles Grodin, and this is set in the 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
I don't remember. 50s or 60s, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Late 50s.
When was Frankie Valli big?
It says 1959.
1959. All right, there we go. So, Charles Grodin had always wanted to be a singer. He was auditioning to be in a play, and he's very nervous about it. There was Penny, who was a single mother, I believe, and she was going to work for the night after tucking her children in and leaving them with the neighbor to watch them while she went to work. There was Julia, who was a waitress in, I want to say New York City, but that might not be right because I feel like this was on the West Coast. So maybe it was LA. I don't know. Anyway, her boyfriend from like the farm and wherever that was from came to look for her, and she was going to try to catch him before he left to tell him she still wanted to be with him. And then there was Milo, and he was he's a criminal, and he had stolen some valuable stamps from a child, and he felt bad about it, so he was trying to break in to the guy's house that he sold him to or got him for or whatever to steal him back for the kid. So anyway, all 4 of these people, they end up on this bus to go home from their various endeavors, and the bus crashes and they all die. Well, they don't just die though, like their spirits are still on Earth, and they end up being the guardian angels. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So there's also 2 parents that are expecting a baby, and the bus crashes while they're on the way to the hospital. And so since that baby was being born when they died, they become this baby's guardian angels. Yes. And so, Thomas, who's the kid, the baby being born and the kid growing up, is the only one that can see them, but they sort of, guide him through life as a child. And
but it gets to a point when he is a child, like he can see them and he can interact with them. And it gets to a point as he becomes an older child, as he becomes the age of the little boy from the Santa Claus, that his parents start to think there's something really wrong with him. So these ghosts, for lack of a better word, can make it so that their person that they're guarding no longer sees them.
Yeah. So
And
they're still around, but he can't see them.
Yeah. So they make this decision that like they don't want the parents to think that he's crazy. And, poor little boy is crying, please don't leave me. And then they disappear and we cut to him as an adult. And now he's grown into this businessman and he's kind of not a really nice guy. Similar character.
Yeah.
I think that's what started this, was you said that like this character was kind of similar, right?
Yeah, I think that's what made me think of it. It was like, oh yeah, when he grows up, he's kind of a jerk,
So it turns out that in order for these ghosts to be able to move on, which they were supposed to have already done, they have to reconcile the thing that's kind of keeping them on Earth. So for Harrison, that's singing in public. For Penny, that's finding out how her children fared. For Julia, that is, finding out about the guy that she was in love with. And then for Milo, that was returning the things that he stole. So they each have to go through like this process of doing that, but they can inhabit Robert Downey Jr.'s body. So it's comedic, it's funny as they're going through these situations, especially to see Robert Downey Jr. Be inhabited by a woman. Like he takes on all these feminine
I was going to
qualities.
say I particularly enjoyed those scenes.
Yeah, it was good. It was funny. Good message overall. Not too long. It was a good watch.
B.B. King was in it. B.B. King made a cameo, which was pretty cool. Yeah, so it was a good movie. If you haven't seen this movie before, check it out. I mean, I remembered it from when I was a kid. I remember the trailers on TV and everything, and watching it when it came out. I think we rented it from Blockbuster or whatever. But
I'd never heard of it, but it was a good movie. It was decent. Yeah.
So, spoiler alert, in the end, they all resolve their issues and they pass on and everybody's, happily ever after.
And Thomas grows up and he's a changed man now that he's had these experiences.
Yeah, Elizabeth Shue plays his girlfriend and they're having sort of commitment issues, I guess, or whatever. So he works those out with her and everybody's happy. So happy ending.
Yep. Good movie.
Which brings us to our next old movie. This one is from 1993, and this is near and dear to my heart from when I was growing up in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. Totally happened.
1993.
In 1993. This movie's called A Bronx Tale, and it was directed by Robert De Niro. This was his directorial debut, and I don't think he directed too many movies after this. I don't think that's because this movie wasn't good, but it did not do very well financially, so that probably had a part to play in why he was not asked to direct too many future projects. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, he actually talked a little bit about that for the film's 30th anniversary last year, where he sort of alluded to that same notion. I don't know what to call it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so this movie came out in 1993, directed by Robert De Niro. It stars Robert De Niro. I have no idea how to say this guy's name. Lilo Brancato.
Lilo Brancato.
Chaz Palminteri. I don't know. I'm butchering these names. Joe Pesci makes a cameo in it. Those are most of the bigger names that you're probably going to know. The box office on this, it cost them $21 million. They made $17 million. So didn't quite make a profit. However, I still thought this movie was pretty good. And I think that's kind of the general consensus of a lot of people, was that it was critically acclaimed. It just apparently wasn't that commercially successful. It was written by, I'm just going to call him Chaz because I can pronounce Chaz.
Palminteri. documentary.
There you go. And it was written by him. It's
know.
Autobiographical.
Parliamentary, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to try.
Okay.
And it was based on his life. Apparently, there was also a Broadway musical adapted from it that was on Broadway for 2 years.
That's interesting.
And I think De Niro might have even helped with that as well.
Oh, no kidding.
So I did not know that before we watched this movie, but
it's interesting because when you told me that Robert De Niro was in it and we saw that Robert De Niro was directing it, I assumed that Robert De Niro would be playing one of the gangsters because of course he would.
Right.
But he's not. He doesn't. So I think that was an interesting switch.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was interesting. So it was kind of like what happens in this movie is, obviously it's about a kid who grows up in the Bronx in New York. This was also kind of set, he was growing up in, the 60s, I think it was. Yeah, the 60s. And, as a little kid, he lives like next to or underneath like a restaurant that is sort of controlled by the mob. And, he'd always seen this guy, Sonny, who's kind of like the boss of the mob. And he always sort of looked up to him that, people respect this guy and he can get whatever he wants. And, people will do what he says. And so he's always kind of looking up to him. And his father, who's played by Robert De Niro, is a bus driver. He's a fine, upstanding citizen, and he's trying to tell his son, you don't need to look up to this guy. You don't need to associate with this kind of guy. That's not the kind of life that I want you to lead, that you should lead. So one day, this kid sees Sonny murder somebody, and the cops come and they ask, okay, who saw this? And, of course, De Niro doesn't want any part of it. He's trying to say we didn't see anything, but they don't believe him. They know the kid saw something. They make the kid look at a lineup of everybody. Sonny's in the lineup. The kid, even though he saw Sonny kill this guy, he doesn't tell on him.
He's not a rat.
He's not a rat. And Sonny appreciates that. So since Sonny didn't have to go to jail, he, obviously says, hey, whatever you need, you got it forever. You're my boy, blah, blah, blah. The dad obviously doesn't want any part of that. He's saying, thanks, but no thanks. He tells his son to stay away from him. His son doesn't listen to him. So his son kind of grows up with like two father figures in his life. He's got his actual dad, who's sort of this like upstanding citizen role model for him, and then he's got Sonny, who's a mob boss and does illegal stuff and everything, but surprisingly does kind of teach him some good lessons in life. Despite his background and what he does, he actually does look out for him and tell him, like, some of these things you don't need to be doing. And like some of his kids' friends grow up to be kind of not very nice people. And he tells them, you don't need to be hanging around those guys. They're not going anywhere. Here's what you need to be doing, and that kind of stuff. So I thought that was kind of nice, even though, it's obviously not the way that, it's not a very like orthodox way. At least he wasn't encouraging him to lead a life of crime or anything.
I also think it was kind of a moral dilemma, because does he take the path that his father has taken, where he's, an upstanding citizen, but struggles financially and doesn't have much, or does he go this route like Sonny and his friends have gone, where they have a lot, but at what cost?
Right.
So it's like a moral dilemma that's happening within him throughout this movie.
Yeah, and so it was pretty good. Then they dealt with the issue of segregation, which was a thing in the 60s, obviously. So this guy's name, that growing up, oh my gosh, Calogero. And I don't feel bad for messing that up, because Sonny even tells him, I don't know how to say your name. Your name's C now. I can
Which
relate.
is what we call our son. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Which actually, so the guy that played Sonny, apparently, he wrote this movie, and he actually is C in real life. So I thought that was interesting. And so, anyway, he kind of is attracted to this, this black girl that he sees at school. And I guess in his neighborhood, that's kind of a point of contention, shall we say. And so that's also a little bit of a dilemma because, you know, he obviously wants to be with this girl, and he doesn't, he himself doesn't want to be racist or anything, but he also wants to fit in with his friends who are racist. So there's a scene where like some of the people that she knows ride through their neighborhood and they all get in a big fight, and then he tries to tell some of them like, hey, look, just stay down, I don't want to hurt you, you know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, her brother was one of those guys. Her brother tells her that, you know, he was involved in the fight, and then he ends up trying to say that he wasn't involved in the fight, and in doing so, he calls the brother a slur, which obviously does not bode well for his relationship with her. And eventually it comes out that no, he actually was trying to help, and they smooth it over, I guess. But his dumb racist friends keep trying to start stuff, and they go try to they were going to burn down a shop in the black neighborhood, and C was actually in the car with them, but Sonny knew about it, and he said, no, you get out of the car. You're not going to this. And it turns out that they, in so doing, trying to burn down this shop, some of the black folks fought back, and they threw one of the Molotov cocktails into the car, and the car exploded, and his friends died. And if he would have been in that car with him, he would have died too. So Sonny saved his life. So that was kind of what I was talking about, where he actually did look out for him, and it was interesting. Well, in the end of the movie, Sonny's lifestyle catches up with him, and he gets murdered by the son. I think it was the son of the guy that he murdered in the beginning of the movie that C didn't rat him out for. And so, you know, C goes to the funeral, and he's obviously upset, and this is where Joe Pesci makes his cameo, and he's sort of like the boss above Sonny, and, you know, he kind of says, hey, whatever you need, let me know, blah, blah, blah. And I guess kind of the moral of the story was that, like, you know, you got to be a good person, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting movie. I like a lot of those kinds of movies. In real life, the guy that played C, Lilo Brancato, apparently he acted in a few other things. He was in The Sopranos at one point, but he was also involved in the fatal shooting of a police officer in New York. Apparently he had some struggles with addiction, and he didn't actually kill the officer, but he was with the person that did during a burglary, and so he got sentenced to prison as well. He's since been released from prison and has gotten sober and turned his life around, and now helps people that struggle with addiction, and has kind of turned it around. So good for him.
Good for him.
If you want to watch this movie, you can watch it for free on Xumo.com, XUMO.com. Otherwise, you can pretty much rent it from all of the usual sites, Amazon, YouTube, Apple, wherever you usually consume that type of content from. And I would recommend you do. It's a good movie.
And hot tip, if you have a public library in your area and you have a way to play DVDs, a lot of times public libraries have a very vast selection of movies that you can go and check out for free with your library card. I am willing to bet that the Bronx Tale and probably even Heart and Souls are on that list.
And you should have something that can play DVDs, because honestly, physical media, it's kind of a shame to watch it go away, because digital is convenient, but you're kind of at the mercy of these companies now, because if they wake up one day and just decide, that's not your movie anymore, what are you going to do about it? If you have it on a disc, you watch it forever, I guess, until the disc breaks or something. But I don't know. Personally, I enjoy both. I do enjoy the convenience of the digital, but I don't think physical should completely go away either. And I also enjoy the library. The library has all kinds of really cool resources, DVDs, CDs, obviously books, and it's free. Or I mean, you're paying for it with your taxes, so go check it out. I like the library. You should check it out. My personal opinion. I don't know. Do whatever you want.
Yeah. So the very last movie that we're going to talk about is Fall Guy. This is a movie that we just saw in the theaters. It is still currently in movie theaters, but you can also stream it on Amazon for about $20.
It's one of those weird things where it's like you can rent it for $20 or you could buy it for $25. So you might as well just buy it at that point.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel like going to the movies, you can watch it at home.
Yes, and we, as we have mentioned before, we are not paid by Regal, but we do have Regal Unlimited, and that really supports our movie watching addiction. And It helps us to be able to get to the theater and see movies, and it pays for itself in just 2 visits.
I'm just going to say this. I mean, I know this is really going to sound like a commercial, but if there's something that I use that I believe in, I like to tell other people about it. And Regal Unlimited has been amazing. Like I've said, ever since I was a kid, I always thought it would be really cool for them to have an annual pass to the movie kind of thing. Movies. And, they never really did. And now that they do, and I can finally take advantage of it a little bit. We've had it for about the past little over a year now. And it's like anything. It depends how often you go to the movies. If you're not going to go that much, it probably doesn't make sense. But the amount of money that you pay to see a movie in a theater anyway, it pretty much pays for itself. I mean, you're not going to lose money unless you
don't go.
Unless you only go to the movies like once a year or something, then it doesn't make sense. But I mean, the amount of times that we go, you get obviously you get the movies, the admission included. You get discounts on the concessions. You get free concessions on your birthday. They got all kinds of stuff. They're always giving you bonus points. It's great. Mm-hmm. So if you go, check it out. It's cool.
And right now they have a free upgrade for RPX movies, so you can go see the RPX movie included with your Regal Unlimited without having to pay that additional fee.
And it also can sometimes it exposes you to movies that you might not otherwise have gone to see. Like if you see a movie and you're like, yeah, I kind of like that, but I'm not going to go pay all this money to go see it in a theater. This way you're like, well, hey, whatever, it's already included. I'll go check it out. What else am I doing,
Yeah.
And going back to what I was talking about with the sort of the annual pass to the movies, there's a documentary that's coming out on HBO Max, or it might already be out, and it's so before Regal had this, and before AMC had their A-list and I don't know, whatever all the other memberships are, there was a company called Movie Pass, and it was the same kind of an idea where you would pay a monthly fee and you could go see unlimited movies in a theater. And I think when it first came out, it cost $25 or $50 or something a month, which was much more sustainable than what they eventually dropped the price down to, which was $10 a month, which was great for consumers, but not so much for the company because everybody bought it and they couldn't sustain that business model. They were losing money left and right, and eventually, it ran them into the ground. But there's a documentary about that whole thing. We actually had Movie Pass for a little while.
Yes, we
did. And
did.
it was pretty cool. I mean, it was I think the theaters kind of took the idea and did it better once they sort of realized that it could work. So, I mean, I guess we have them to thank for all of these theaters adopting that. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see that documentary.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this has nothing to do with the movies we're talking about today, but we got talking about it. If you have Max, check it out. I think it's coming out. It might already be out, or it's going to be out soon. I think it's called Movie Pass Movie Crunch or something like that.
Interesting.
Anyways, back to the movie we're talking about. Fall Guy.
Fall Guy.
Relatively recent movie. Just came out, I don't know, a few weeks ago, maybe? Something like that?
Like
a month ago.
Or so ago. Yeah.
Directed by David Leitch, who used to be a stuntman. This movie's about a stuntman. Starring Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, and Hannah Waddingham, who you might know her from Ted Lasso as the the owner of the team, among other things. But that's what I knew her from. This is another movie that apparently has not really turned a profit yet. It's kind of hard to say because it's still in progress.
Been out for not very long.
But from what I have read, it's made about $65 million on a $140 million budget, so they're about halfway there. Now, it is still in the theaters, and it's on the streaming services and whatnot. So I'm honestly not sure how the streaming revenue factors into the total profit margin and all that. But
yeah, I'm thinking they probably assumed that it was going to recoup that budget pretty quickly, and it hasn't. So I'm sure that there's some feelings about that, but also it's a movie about a stuntman, so there's a ton of stunts in it, and I'm sure that really drove up the price of the budget of the film.
Yeah.
So in this movie, it follows this stuntman that's played by Ryan Gosling, and he works with like the biggest actor around. And in the beginning of the movie, he's kind of got like this situationship happening with Emily Blunt, who is an assistant on the movie at that time. And he goes to do a stunt and he gets injured. And then we fast forward to about a year later, and the producer, played by Hannah Waddingham, calls him and says, I need you on this film. It's Emily Blunt's directorial debut. It's this huge action film. You are the stuntman. We need you here. So he goes on this entire journey. It turns out the actor is missing, and then he's trying to find the actor, and hijinks ensue. We won't give it all away, but in the meantime, there's, back and forth between him and Emily Blunt, and will they, won't they end up together, and, all of these things. So lots of action, a little bit of romance, some comedy. It's got all the things that you're wanting. It gave me like that movie Argyle that we saw recently. It's the same kind of vibes to me, like where it has all of those things in it. It wasn't too long. It wasn't like they didn't carry the story out past what it needed to be. Like it was just enough.
I'm gonna also chime in on Argyle because it kind of bugged me after we recorded the episode. I thought of something in Argyle that I didn't mention, but that was that the new Beatles single played kind of a role in Argyle. And I thought that was really cool because I'm a big Beatles fan, and I couldn't believe that I forgot to mention that. But
well, look, now you have the platform to mention it.
I've done it, so Hey, y'all ever heard of the Beatles? Check them out. They're a pretty good band.
So I enjoyed it. I know that you said like that wasn't a movie you would choose to go see on your own, but I really wanted to see it. I'm a big Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt fan. I love Hannah Waddingham. So yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah,
I think it's one of those movies like I said, I don't think it's a movie I probably would have gone to see on my own, but I enjoyed it. I think there's several movies kind of like that where it's like, I might like Argyle. I don't think I would have went to see that on my own, but I enjoyed it when I saw it. It was good. Like you said, comedy, romance, all kinds of stuff that you want to see.
Action.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
I would recommend going to see it in the theater.
Yeah, I think that's a good one to go see.
Just because, I think if you have the opportunity to see something in a theater, it's going to be a better experience than at home anyway, unless you're like mega rich and you have a theater in your house or something. But also, I mean, if the ticket to the theater is like $15 and it's $20 to watch it at home, you might as well just go check it out in the theater.
Yeah.
Why not? But if you can't make it out of the theater, it's available at home, which I also like because sometimes you can't make it to the theater, and you still want to see that movie.
Well,
So
one of the things that I really enjoy about watching movies at home is the fact that you can, like, when a movie is going on too long, sometimes you just need a brain break.
I can go both ways on that.
I don't think Fall Guy is one of those movies, but like I agree. Like, I think Fall Guy is one you want to sit and you want that theater experience for it, but there's just some movies that, like, okay, we're about an hour and a half in at this point and we've still got an hour and a half to go. Like, I just need a brain break. So let's
one thing I do enjoy about the theater though is, like, I feel like you kind of get a better experience where there's not as many distractions around.
That's true.
Where, like, I've noticed a lot of times when I watch movies with people at home, like, they'll just stare at their phone the whole time, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even like that movie." And I'm like, "You didn't even watch the movie.
Okay.
You watched like 3 seconds
But
of the movie,
also,
and you were on your phone the rest of the time."
You do that too. You look at your phone too when we're watching movies.
But I'm just saying, like, it's annoying.
It's because he can't multitask.
When you try to like share a movie with somebody, and they just look at their phone the whole time, and then at the end they're like, "That movie wasn't even good," and I'm like, "You didn't even see it." So,
yeah.
Case in point, somebody I know who's a very bright individual, but not very good at comprehending the plots to movies, constantly is questioning things, saying things like, "So, what are you trying to say?"
He's actually not talking about me, even though the tone in which he is saying this makes it seem like it's about me. I mean, obviously, I'm really smart, but, like, he's not talking about me because I comprehend movies.
I'm referring to my sister-in-law, who's your sister.
Yes.
Very smart individual, but man, I just remember one time we were showing her the movie Psycho. And I always liked, like, as you know from if you've listened to the show for a while, Psycho is one of my favorite movie franchises. And I always like to watch the movie with somebody who, if there's somebody who hasn't seen it, I always like to see their experience watching it the first time, especially if they don't know anything about it. Because, like, as I said, if you remember during those episodes, that, like, I did know about it before I saw it, and I kind of wish that I didn't, because I felt like it would have made a bigger impact. However, when we tried to show her this movie, she looked at her phone the entire time. And then she looked up at the end and goes, "Oh, it wasn't good." You didn't even watch the movie.
Okay, but to be fair, she was young, and, like, some people are just not into that, like, kind of movie.
But my point is, like, when you go to the theater, hopefully you're not the jerk who's on the phone the whole time. Don't be on your phone in the movie theater. I like it because it kind of forces you to pay attention. You know? That's what I like about it. That's what I was trying to say.
Fair enough.
And I went off on a rant there. So,
well, friends, we have been talking to you for a very long time.
Yes.
And while it has been so nice to catch up and talk about movies, it is time for us to go.
Yes. Well, anyway, that was Fall Guy. You can check it out on Amazon or other places, I think. It was pretty good. I'd recommend checking it out. We're obviously going to keep watching movies, and we're going to try to do more episodes more often as our work schedules and other things in our lives happen. They might not be as frequently as we would like, but we're going to try to not go, like, months and months and months in between if we can help it.
I don't think we did.
We didn't this time, but last year I feel like we did for a little while. So, some of the other movies we saw this weekend were Garfield and If. So
yes, so I think there will be an upcoming episode of Travis with the kids to talk through those movies. And so stay tuned for that.
Yep. If you have something you would like for us to talk about, go ahead and suggest it. Our social media presence, I guess you could say. Our accounts are at Life in Pics Pod on everything except for Facebook, which is Life in Pictures Podcast on Facebook. I think it's Life in Pictures Podcast on YouTube. I feel like we might maybe start doing some video episodes at some point. So if you'd like to see that, let us know. We got a few ideas maybe in the works. But yeah, that's basically it. We're going to keep watching movies and TV shows and and talking about them. So I hope you guys have enjoyed listening. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to this. Hopefully you got something nice to say, but say what you feel. You know, if you like it, great. If you don't, that's a shame, but everybody has different tastes. So anyway, that's the show, and we'll see you next time. Hope you've enjoyed it.